right here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the premiere episode of the world's smallest Tokusatsu podcast. My name is Scott, and I am here with my friend
Domo.
Okay, so
You know,
we're gonna have to. That's how you know it's the first
I
episode.
see you. I see you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I understand, and I hope that we can pick it up, just like Super Sentai is picking up with its 49th season, number one Sentai 50th Gozyuger.
Very on point with the name.
Very on point. Certainly no debate about it being the 50th season of Super Sentai.
Who's asking, honestly?
If you're not familiar with Super Sentai, it is the Japanese show that Power Rangers stole its footage from. I guess stole is harsh. They paid for it. It's not stealing if you buy it.
Debatably.
And they're celebrating their 50th anniversary with the brand new season, number one Sentai Gozyuger, which we just watched the first episode of.
And what a first episode it was.
It really was kind of a first episode. I'm not. I'll let you give initial thoughts.
I think that for a first episode in a Sentai series, they made a lot of interesting choices in who they were introducing and why they were introducing them. I think that a lot of regular episode 1 staples are just kind of, well, they're not quite absent, but they definitely made choices on how to address the introduction of their characters.
It's true. I feel like, especially with these Reiwa Sentai, a lot of the first episodes do tend to focus on just one of the members. If Boom Boonger focuses a lot on Pink in its first episode, even though we do meet Red and Blue at the end. Dawn Brothers, obviously Peak, focuses on Haruka, the yellow Oni sister.
Right.
And this is very much a Red-focused episode. And I gotta say, initial feelings, I'm kind of lukewarm on him, unfortunately. I get, Wolf, Stray, they're kind of going for that unloved, not unloved, but unlikable kind of, not unlikable. Not anything.
Right. Kind of like the anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
Where he's...
It's like an anti-hero, but no edge.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's the perfect way to put
it. He's very much like a good guy's bad boy. And maybe it's just the performance. Obviously these people are young. It's children's television. I'm not expecting to be wowed. He did okay. I'm not super hype. I'm not super in love with the show so far. I think obviously the biggest reason that anyone's excited for this is the anniversary aspect, which we can jump right into with our first returning Sentai ?
Deciding to go with Kuwagata Oger for the first Sentai to be quote-unquote returning.
It's Kuwagata Oger, but it's not Gira. It's actually Tire Handle if you're watching the old subs when Boo Booger first came out. But he is given a different name. I forgot what it was. It didn't super matter. But he's like his coworker at the Komini. But it's not. It's very interesting because I didn't know a super lot going into this. Obviously, it's an anniversary season. There were some returning suits in the trailer, but it's very much looking like it's not going to be a Gokaiger type anniversary where we have the actors returning to their roles. It seems almost like we're in some kind of parallel universe, maybe.
Right. So this is kind of what they did in Kamen Rider Decade, which it's a parallel because, you've got Kamen Rider, you've got Sentai. But in Decade, they have the main character transforming into each of the different suits. And when they introduce the world that the suit comes from or that the powers come from, they don't have that same. Though they introduce the same characters, or rather, the actors aren't recurring in their roles until much later. And there's
Oh.
an explanation for that in the series, but it's very much giving the vibe of we're going to introduce familiar powers and familiar suits, but they're not going to quite be on the same
Oh,
faces.
the only thing I knew about Decade was that Kuga was different, that he wasn't the same actor. I didn't know that
Right. No, that very much
everyone's
applied
slightly
to
different.
everybody else.
I
Yeah.
see. So that, I mean, going back to Gozyuger, we see at the beginning all the Sentai Mech or Titans. I'm not sure if that's ever been the terminology before, but I guess it is now. They're the Titans. Remember them. Shout out Denzel. We see all the Sentai Mech get defeated by like the darkness before the Tegasword saves them. And now we know that the actor who was Taya is not playing Taya necessarily. So it makes me wonder, did this world know about the Sentai teams for these mechs? Are these the mechs that we know from like the other universe? Is there
See, that's
Oh, go ahead.
that's an interesting point you make too, because for the most part in Sentai series, each world is standalone
Right.
unless they make direct references to prior Sentai.
Right. Except for the awful
Like,
team up movies.
yeah, except for the awful team up movies, obviously non-canon.
That's very true.
But in Gokaiger, they very much recognize that all the Sentai existed all in the same world, or at least within the same timeline.
Hmm.
But then you have other series where they don't acknowledge that other Sentai have even existed at all.
It's true.
So this has an interesting twist of obviously we haven't seen any of the old teams. We haven't seen all we've really seen of the prior Sentai are Kuwagata Oger transformation the and their mechs. Whether you want to call them Kaisers or whether you want to call them like
Jers,
yeah,
Dies,
like
Robo.
whatever you want to call them, all we're seeing are their mechs, all fighting alongside each other.
Um,
So I think a lot of the mystery in this series is going to be what led to this point.
it's true. Another thing I just keep going back to, like some of the Sentai mech are just like the Rangers or the Robo. Like if
Right.
Dononi Taijin dies, just I mean all the Dawn brothers are dead. Boon
Right.
Boon is the main component of the Boon Boon Jirobo, and you see him there in the dead bodies. Is Boon Boon dead again?
Yeah. And then the same thing with like the Zen Kaiger,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
like mechs.
Uh,
Like they were the team, so are they just
are they
gone?
just dead in this world? I need to know. But I guess going back to a little bit of a recap, we meet our red, Hoedu, which I'm gonna have to ask one of our Japanese friends if that's a real name. I'm sure I know it's like a play on Howl, but it's a stretch.
I hadn't even thought of
I
that.
don't know. But so he gets fired from the Kombini after beating someone up who uses a knife. We saw a knife in a premiere episode of Super Sentai. Shout outs. Can't believe maybe next season we'll start getting guns. I don't want that. That's a
Just
joke.
casually introducing civilian
Yeah,
weapons
there's a real
in the
threat
superpower.
of violence in the beginning of Super Sentai. So he gets fired. He lives with that woman and her son. He has like a little cute moment with the kid. Um, there was that stuff with the Yakuza that didn't super matter. I guess it's just to give him more characterization. Like he's a tough
Right.
guy, but he cares about this lady and her kid. So he'll get punched
Yeah, he did take those hits for some
for
reason.
some reason. He fell into the earth. Oh, the bad guys. So we learn about the bad guys. There's the Fire Candle and Bouquet, who look like they're on the moon. It could just be space. They say one line that I caught was they said that they were made on Earth, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So are they like artificial? Are they robots? I'm not sure. Like they look, everything's wedding themed, which is a play on the ring stuff, I guess. but
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they seem like organic. They could be robotic underneath, but
I think that based upon their goons, the little bellboys, I'm going to call them until I know what they're actually called. Did they name them in that episode? I
if
don't
they did,
actually
I was
remember.
not. I was not paying attention. I didn't catch it.
I'm going to call them the bellboys for
That's
now.
good.
They seem absolutely mechanical. Like they struck their own heads. They had the ringing noise. I mean, that's it screams, "Oh, I'm just a robot and I'm meant for you to explode."
That's true. I mean, well, did they explode even? I don't remember. He was fighting them. I remember that. Anyway,
Yeah, you're right. I don't think they exploded.
so yeah, there's
Huh.
bellhops.
Bad choice of
I
words.
like the Mook design. It's not like top 10 all time, but I think they're cute. He falls into the earth and he makes a contract with the Tegasword. And this is very interesting. The Tegasword asks Hoiru what his wish is, and we get a little flashback to him and his mom, or I'm assuming it's his mom. It's some older woman, and she told him like that wishing is dangerous and that he should not make any wishes. Which again it's a good little intrigue for like episode 1. Does he have some kind of latent wishing ability? Is he Timmy Turner
Ooh,
from Japan?
is this actually the common writer? Is it? Is this the Desire Grand Prix?
Oh my goodness. Please take me back. Uh, so he comes to Earth with the Tegasword, immediately goes into robot mode, or robot Tegasword Robo, I assume, which is very surprising. We don't get the first morph before the first robot fight, which is pretty different, I would say.
Right. We got the anniversary morph before we got the actual series
Yeah, I
morph.
feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like it's been a while since we had a robot fight in the premiere episode, even. Maybe,
That is an excellent
maybe,
point. They normally reserve it for episode
yeah,
2.
maybe this is like lending because as we see from the toys, hello toys, uh, everyone has kind of their own version of the Tegasword Robo. There's no combining yet, so maybe this is a way to lean into that. Episode 1, boom, you buy the changer, you got the Robo. That's all you need because the toys are out in
Huh.
Japan. Um,
That is an excellent point. I hadn't even thought of that.
yeah,
We're gonna have like little transformers.
we are. Everyone has to buy 5 Tegaswords, and then each of the team's individual Robos. Notably, individual Robos. Red doesn't have one. From the toy solicitations, we see everyone else has like a weapon that combines with the Tegasword to become their own Tegasword Robo. But Red is just kind of plain. I've heard from toy rumors that he might have his own weapon coming, so we might have a different version of Tegasword Red Robo. But who knows?
They may go the route of Gokaiger,
Mm.
and it may just be a reference to a prior team where he's just using their power and it's upgrading him.
Oh, maybe.
Like that's what they did very much with what is it? The Gokaiger mecha, where whenever they used a prior power, it just came in the form of an upgrade.
It's true. But would they do that if everyone else has their own? Would Red be the only one to get anniversary powers? Maybe. I mean, Red. We do know from looking at toy logistics and stuff that Red and then the Sixth Ranger are usually the ones that sell. So I wouldn't be super surprised if they put everything behind Red. But
You know what? That checks out.
mhm.
Even, well, I mean, I guess I'll save it for a later point when we're talking about the teaser for episode 2.
uh, so we have our robot fight. Something very strange happens in the mecha fight where we are taken to like an abstract boxing ring where the fire candle who's piloting his own giant robo gets like an in-ring introduction, and then Hoiru gets his own in-ring introduction, and he gets transformed into like a weird white wedding suit is the best way I can describe it. He looks like a prince. He looks more princely than Gira.
Right.
Um, and then the bell rings. They're in the ring. Now I understand all the rings. This is the ring season, everyone.
Yeah.
Uh, but then after that, immediately cuts back to the mecha fighting. So I don't know. I mean, it's very stylish. I don't know if it necessarily worked for me. Maybe if they had done that later on when he's transformed, and it was more like that before like the on the ground fighting. But
Right.
to me, like having that scene and then just jumping back to the mecha felt a little weird.
I think it's interesting in the fact that it feels very much like a theme they're going to go with for maybe the first few episodes,
Mm.
and then it's going to drop.
Maybe.
I don't think they're going to introduce the boxing ring with every fight moving
Are you saying
forward.
that?
Or at least it'll be the first few
Are you
fights.
saying that this is gonna be our season's Avatar Robo, or was it Don
Quite
Don
possibly.
Avataro, whatever that was?
Yeah. Like when they eventually in Dawn Brothers got usage of like their mecha form,
Oh yeah,
they stopped using their like combined last attack for the most
that's
part.
true. And they stopped using basically stopped using his Avataro form. He stopped using Enya Rhydon and the weird soulless red Zenkaiger.
Right.
Uh,
Like I feel like this is absolutely a theme they're going to drop possibly within a few episodes.
and if you guys are wondering why we're bringing up Don Brothers so much, the number one reason is because it is peak, and I will have no dissent on this. But two, Don Brothers is written by Toshiki Inoue, and this season is very notable for being the first season, I believe, where the head writer is Toshiki Inoue's daughter. I should have looked this up before, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. Vamp.
That sounds right, which is crazy to me. Like picking up the mantle.
It really is.
Is this a good sign? I would hope
I would
so.
hope so. Yeah, Akiko Inoue. So that's why. But after the mech fight, I was the mech fight anything to you? I didn't. It didn't really wow me. It was just pretty cool, you know.
Pretty standard early season mech fight where it's just kind of like, all right, we're going to show you just the barest of bones of what he can do. We're obviously not going to see anything until, we get the whole team together and we see, are they going to get like a Gattai form, or are they all just going to fight individually?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just going to be Red fighting. We don't really have a lot of that information yet.
We don't. Whoa! One thing we do know is that when he puts on the ring and then he does his big howl, which I'm sure everyone will love, that their little son and or daughter is doing in their living room. We
Oh,
see we
Jesus,
see
yeah.
the other rings react. So this is going to be kind of, I guess, kind of a situation where there's the other Gozyugers are already active, and him becoming active is going to unite them, I guess. Uh, I think again, we've been betrayed by the episode 2 preview. But I think it would have been cool if we had gotten maybe each of them to have their own standalone episode. I think I would have enjoyed that in the same way that Red got his own here. But we gotta get that team together, boys. So, so
Do we have a confirmation for the number of episodes this series is getting?
I'm not sure. I would assume. I think Boom Boonger was 49. It's usually somewhere between 48 and 50, right? I
Right.
would.
Like, that may be a factor as
Oh,
well as to pacing.
Dominic, it's number 50 Sentai Gojuger. They have to do 50 episodes. It's the
Oh,
number 150
God.
episodes.
Yeah, because we love sticking to the
We
theme.
love 50. 50 is the best number, and it's the number that fits this season the best. Which, I mean, by the way, if you're not sure, if you're not familiar why we're joking about this being season 50, it's technically this is season 49. It's
Yes.
airing during the 50th anniversary of the first Super Sentai season. So they really wanted to make this the 50th anniversary. So they cheated. They cheated. They know they cheated, and they don't care about it. This is season 50. This is season 49. No,
Yeah,
it's season 49, but it's the
season
50th
49,
Sentai,
Team 50.
and we just
We're
all
not gonna count Akiba
we don't
Ranger.
count Akiba
Instead, we're
Ranger, we don't
going
count
to
Ninja Man. Instead, we split
no,
Pato Ranger and Lupin Ranger.
which I think is a good season, but that's neither here nor
I have
there.
not heard anything good about that, so I'm happy that you think it's good. What I think is good is when Taya does become Goju Wolf. He does his little dance. It's not as flashy as the Kyoryuger dance, but I'm willing. I'm learning the steps. No, before we get into the fight, we should talk about the suits. How are you ups or downs on the Gozyuger team suits?
Honestly, I think I like it a lot more than the Boom Boonger
How dare
suits.
you? How dare you?
I'll die on that hill. Um, I think that the gold highlights on the suits are very nice. The amount of black mixed in with the color feels appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very like
They
celebratory.
do. They feel
It's
very
like,
ornate.
yeah, like definitely 50th team gotta make them
It's
flashy.
true. I don't know. They've kind of grown on me. I still think yellow looks bad. I think gold on yellow is just a bad color combination, and I wish they
Certainly.
would have chosen any other color for him. I don't know, maybe green since he's the dinosaur, but that's just me. But I'm fine with the suits. My only complaint is that I don't even hate, but I don't really like the white shoes. And
Ooh,
you'll
yeah.
notice like on black, she has like the shin armor in white as well. And I feel like maybe
Right.
if they all had that I wouldn't mind the white shoes. But
Yeah, it's definitely a much better
for the
transition.
boys, it's all just their unique color, and then the white Jordans. And no hate, but I'm sure it'll grow on me. You mentioned you don't like the Boom Boonger suits. I think those are suits that I obviously were met with fan scorn, guffaw, uh,
I will say,
unbelievability.
when they got their jackets, that
The
was pretty
champion
sick.
upgrade, I think, is one of the coolest looking power ups a team of Super Sentai has ever gotten. I can't believe it took 48 years before they were like, what if we put him in a cool jacket? And it works. It
It does work. It absolutely works. I can't disagree with you
it's
there.
the best looking a team of Super Sentai has ever looked. Um, I haven't seen all of Boom Boonger. I'm currently, I think, 8 or 9 episodes in, and I have enjoyed it. I am enjoying it. I That's my thoughts.
I'll give it a peek see at some
I'm
point.
sure it's from what I've heard, it only gets better, and I'm excited about that. But I've been led astray by community reactions before, and my opinion is the only one that matters on this planet, as many of our listeners will soon know. And I will be able to tell them which seasons are
Yeah,
good or
no.
bad, including the.
Mingling with the community is obviously the worst idea.
I'll be able to tell them which seasons are good or bad, including the ones that you say are good. Uh,
That's insane. He holds so much power in his
this
hands.
was part of the invite to be on the to do this podcast together. You have to capitulate to my every opinion. Um, my opinion of Goju Wolf's first fight is that it's really cool. He's rolling a lot, which is cool. He's doing grappling a lot, which is very fun.
It's very
I feel
dynamic, yeah.
like I skipped what was the cute Zhuoger? I have not seen anything for Zhuoger.
Oh,
So for
yeah.
me, it's been like a long time since I've seen like a super animal based Sentai or Tokusatsu. And from this does remind me of like I'm sorry, I'm going to drop the Power Rangers name, Power Rangers Wild Force, because I've never seen Gal Ranger. I'm sorry. But it does remind me a lot of Gal Ranger or Power Rangers Wild Force, the way they would fight with like their claws,
Right.
and it felt more animal. And then on top of that, we have like this fighting game flair. Oh my god! I forgot when we
Oh yeah,
when they go to the boxing ring before the mech fight. There's there's
yeah.
Smash Brothers Nazi. Uh,
Smash Brothers
That's what I wrote down in my
Nazis.
notes. I know it's not like, but they're wearing black and they have the red armband and a weird mask. And
Yeah, that was certainly it stunned
I
me
did,
for a little bit. I didn't know what
that
to think
whole
of that.
sequence was very trippy, and I wonder because I can take like the ring and like their introductions as being like abstract, concepts of like, oh, this is like hyping them up before the fight. But like the presence of those guys makes me think that this is somehow related to like the villain team. Like,
I'll be real.
mm,
Like it felt like a downgraded version of like the Dawn Brothers Palanquin.
oh,
Cause that was always hype.
oh,
Whenever
maybe
whenever he rode in on the palanquin and they were dancing all around, that shit was
that's
hype.
true. We do have, and then they just cease to exist once they're not needed. Okay, maybe
Right.
these the Smash Brothers Nazis are just abstractions. maybe they don't. Maybe they're not real. But I hope they're real. I want to know more about their planet. Um. So anyway, the fight was cool. Fighting game stuff. Um.
Oh yeah.
There's this one segment towards the end when he's fighting one of the bellboys, where he does.
Yeah, he does it straight up a
Yeah, he
combo.
straight up does a combo, and gets like a dynamic finish. And this is
Very stylistic.
very stylistic, very new. I can't remember seeing anything like this in Sentai before. It.
I do prefer it to the GoPro fighting.
Oh my god.
God, every time Sentai or Kamen Rider, any Tokusatsu has the GoPro fighting scenes, I can't.
I just.
It's awful to me.
It's
It's not even a matter of like motion sickness. It's just not good.
no. I think it's one of those things. Hopefully they just get over it, but it is very much like a. This is. It looks more real, and it. Everyone watching this knows that it's not real. You're not going to convince people that these 2-minute transformation long sequences are very realistic. Just give us
Right.
the high grade cameras for the love of God. You can throw in shaky
Do,
cam, sure. I don't care. I don't have motion sickness.
right.
But there's no reason the middle of the episode needs to go to like 720p.
Absolutely not. So like when they did that fighting scene moment, it
Yes,
was very sick. I
more
loved
of
it.
this, Toei. More of this. More intentional style versus just bad camera quality.
Yes, please.
Please.
Dear God, for the love of God, yes, please.
So we see Yellow and Blue at the end of the episode overlooking Hoiru. We know that this is going to be a season where, at least at the beginning, we're going to have 3 as the core team, which is red, yellow, and blue. Apparently, black and green are coming later. I know
That
they're
is
oh,
something that is pretty
yeah,
common.
it's fairly common. I would say it's a little uncommon to see all 5. We get flashes of all 5 in this episode. Normally, when we have like our 3 core team, the other 2 are kind of brought in maybe like 6, 7 episodes later as like extra rangers. Thinking of like
Ye-
Hurricaneger, Geki Ranger, that kind of stuff.
yeah, they did the same kind of thing with Kyoryuger,
Oh,
where
you're
they
right.
had the initial 3 and then they introduced green and black later down the line.
You're absolutely
Um,
right.
um, I also recently picked up, what is it? Oh, I just mentioned it.
Q
I
Ranger.
also recently picked up Q Ranger, yeah, and they have like a core 3 that doesn't include the red in episode 1, and they introduced red in episode 1, which is
Oh,
interesting.
that's very.
Um, Q Ranger is also a different kind of series too, where they've got 9 main rangers and then a buttload of other rangers. That's something we could talk about another
That's
time.
very
Q
true.
Rangers is pretty interesting.
Speaking of like, just talking about this is the anniversary season. I watched the press conference. I'm not sure if you did, but it was very Reiwa focused. We've only gotten like six. Is this our sixth Reiwa or set fifth?
I feel like it's the
Maybe
fifth.
it's the
I have to
fifth.
look at that real quick.
There were no. Well, there were five. There's five Gozyugers, and there were five Reiwa Sentai fighting them. No, there weren't. Were there? There was four. Anyway, um, and I'm just wondering if we're going to see any Heisei actors. I would assume maybe this is the a huge anniversary, but nothing's promised. So we'll see.
Oh, I didn't realize that Kira Major was the first Reiwa Sentai
Yeah, it
series.
was. Although
I did watch
Kira
that.
Major was not at the press conference.
Ooh, I see.
Yeah.
Maybe I should peek at that.
I'm not sure if it would tell you anything we don't know already. But
Okay, fair enough.
we get what else was there? Anything else? Oh, obviously at the end, our Taya not Taya morphs into Kuwagata Oger.
Oh yeah, and then they get in a little
They
scuffle.
get in a scuffle where Taya mentioned not Taya, but Taya. He mentions that because Horu doesn't have a wish, he shouldn't be in the fight. And as someone who just finished Kamen Rider Ryuki last week, this is very much Kamen Rider Ryuki.
Enlighten me.
um, so Ryuki is all about the Rider War, where riders enter to have their wish granted. And our main rider, Shinji, is very much like he gets in by accident. He doesn't really have a goal. Most of the series is him figuring out like what his goal will be.
Okay.
And a lot of the riders are like fighting him because he doesn't have a goal. He's trying to stop the Rider War, but I'm very shocked that this is where we're going with our anniversary aspects. Again, the whole like
That is interesting.
Taya not being Taya and being Kuwagata Oger was very surprising, and then having it be this kind of, for lack of a better word, Sentai War is also very, very different than what I was expecting.
Right.
I guess.
I was kind of expecting where. I guess I was expecting like Gokaiger Part 2.
Yeah, I agree.
That was my understanding
That was
of it.
very much what I thought this was going to be. Um,
See, and then Gokaiger did show up in Boom Boonger as well. So I thought they were going for
that's
that.
true. Yeah, Joe was in Boom Mooncher. But yeah, very much like because we have like the Mecha War here, very I think very intentionally drawing back to the Sentai War from Gokaiger. I think our brains just connected that, and we thought, okay, fun anniversary season, and that's not what this is shaping up to be. But I'm interested. Um,
I think a lot of the interest for me is the mystery.
it's
There's a lot of setup in this first episode.
it's very mysterious, but I will say that Tokusatsu and mysteries are not always the best
Ooh,
connection.
fair
I've
point.
been let down by my fair share of Tokusatsu mysteries. But I'm always willing to give it a chance. At the bottom line is that a series is fun from week to week for me. That's at least like watchable.
Okay, fair
And
point.
also, I mean, I'm someone who's dropped a lot of Tokusatsu episodes by episode 3 because I'm like, oh, I'll just put it off till next week, and then I never come back. So having this show and this commitment, I guess, will keep me watching Gozyuger. And hopefully we'll have positive things to say about it in a year from now.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
my
I think there's a lot of potential here.
obviously episode ones are brimming with potential. I'm feeling it. I felt the hype. I pre-ordered the toys. And we'll just see where we goju from here.
Ooh, what a way to go.
Segment change. Okay, and
Gavv.
Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 23. I guess I'll just give we can give little recaps about how we feel about or how we felt about Gavv since we're jumping in the middle here as opposed to just
In
starting.
general.
Yeah, why don't you take it away, my friend?
So I think Gav is interesting in that it feels like there are stakes in this
It's
season.
very true.
Our main character Shoma has not only direct relation to our baddies, but also has reason to defend the human world. Like he's attached on both sides. You don't often get that with main characters. Or rather, when you do get that, it's just kind of just barely a factor. It's very ingrained in the story
There's not a lot of
on how he's going to address
yeah,
it.
there's not a lot of tokusatsu I can think of where the main character has a secret, basically, or like a secret past or like a secret identity that they're trying to keep hidden from their friends. I think that's very new to Gavv, in my opinion. Um,
I Well, no.
uh,
I think the recent example of that is Geets, where,
oh,
he.
but his past was more of a mystery, I would say, right?
That's true. It was more of a mystery and more of like, it's on a need to know basis where you don't need to know. And
Mm,
I'm just trying to get my goal done.
hmm.
Whereas Shoma's secret is, all right, well, I mean, I'm directly related to the bad
Hello,
guys.
I'm an
I
alien.
probably. Yeah. Essentially. And that's the way it's ingrained in the show certainly makes it so that okay, he's gonna likely get to a point where yeah, he's fighting the what is it? What are they called
Stomach.
again? Oh jeez, yeah, he's fighting stomach. He's fighting the what are the race
Oh,
called? I
Granute.
can't remember.
It's Granute.
Yeah, so he's fighting Granutes. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where he's likely going to have to make a decision,
Mm,
right? And right now, he's making a decision to side with the humans because of what happened to his mom.
yeah.
But I feel like it's going to get to a point because we already know that not all Granutes are the same way as Stomach Inc.,
Yeah, yeah.
where they're very much like normal people. Like they lead normal lives even before Stomach was what it is now,
A drug
basically just
lord.
like drug. Yeah, where they're drug lords, they were a regular confectionery company.
Mm,
So it's kind of like we're gonna get to the point where innocent groundings are gonna be involved
yeah.
directly with Shoma, and he's gonna have to make a choice.
Mm. Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree. For where I'm at with Gab right now, I think the how should I say it? I think the honeymoon phase for me has ended. I think when Gab started, there was a lot of excitement in it because it premiered and it was good. But I think most of my affection for it came from it not being gotchard. Uh,
Ooh,
I,
he said
I
it.
think I'm sorry to all the gotchard fans out there. Dominic and myself have both not watched it, and I at least probably have no intention of watching it.
I gave it a fair
You
five,
got farther
six
than I got. I
episodes.
got I think to episode 4, and I was done with it. I think obviously it's in a bad place, being coming right after how great Keats was. I don't think any season
Ooh,
could have
yeah,
followed that up
no.
well, but I do think Gotchard just really came out of the gate stumbling. Um, and a lot of people were put off by that. And so when Gav started up, there was a lot of hype just based around it being good, like decent. And I think that hype carried me like a long way with it, where I was really excited to watch it week to week. But after these last couple arcs, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's Gav. Um,
I mean, I'm still pretty curious to see where it
I'm
goes. There's still a lot of unanswered
there's a
questions.
lot of unanswered questions, but I'm not sure that I will be satisfied with the answers. You know, if that makes sense. Um,
That's
we
fair.
got so I mean, right before where we are, we just had the arc with Lage 9 Lakia, or Kamen Rider Ram, revealing his backstory, which was all just yeah, you know,
It's pretty
it's
vanilla.
pretty vanilla. It wasn't. I mean, I'm just so when I don't know, like he was introduced, he was very obviously having a Granute become a rider was very different. Having a rider on the side of the human eating Granutes was very different. But just in a matter of episodes, he just gets reduced to, good guy on the wrong side that immediately teams up with Shoma. And now
Yeah, I don't think they gave it enough
I don't
time.
think they gave it enough time. And I don't think that the way he's brought over really worked for me. I'm not saying it didn't make sense Obviously, telling him that, stomach is the reason your brother's fucked up and you got to help me take down stomach. Like that's all fine. I think that's where my problem with Gavv is that it's just fine. Everything is everything gets resolved okay. It's nothing blows me away about it anymore. Which again I know is so fucking snooty for talking about children's television where they fight big rubber monsters. Uh, and I understand that. I know I'm a snob. I'll own it. Uh,
See, but then you say that, but there are some series that are really well written and really well paced.
mm-hmm.
Like if we go back to Geats, like that was a really well written premise, and the payout was awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you go back to like I don't. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen
I
Double,
have not.
but W was very well written, very well paced. The mystery, the intrigue was there,
Mm-hmm.
and you really felt for the characters. Like there was a lot of good character writing in that series.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fair to, at the very least, constructively criticize where the writing is absent.
This season it's about snacks, and I'm here stuffing my face, and I'm still saying I want more. I want more, Mister Gav. I'm not full.
Give me those
Give me the
gummies.
gummy. Um, I think the one part of Gav that I'm still really invested in and still really works for me is Honto. I don't know if it's his performance
Hmm.
or just because of Stockholm syndrome for how long he's been around. But usually the stuff with him works. Like we finally got the big blowout last episode about him discovering that Gav was a Granute. And not only
Right.
did the blow up work for me, but the resolution really worked for me. I was really,
Right.
really impressed by how
He's written like a human, like an actual person. He's reacting how people would normally react.
exactly. And I was surprised for how both by the length of that scene of their heartfelt conversation after the blow up, and also just how touching it was. I feel like so obviously we might bring up American children's shows, but that kind of length and that kind of tenderness is just not something you would see in an American children's show or even like a Power Rangers type thing. It felt really
Yeah,
sincere and
that's fair.
really emotional. I was really invested. Um,
I think if we're gonna talk about like the American side of it,
uh-huh.
I think the closest we get to anything like that is where the shows that are copying off of the Sentai series more one to one, like the episodes are pretty much just translations of the Sentai series,
Oh,
is where we get like the actual good
it's very
content.
true. Well, I mean, there's two examples of
Okay.
that, right? Like, Time Force is
Yeah.
very, from what I've heard, Time Force is very much Time Ranger, and Time Force is
Right.
very well regarded by Power Ranger fans. But then also on the
Yeah.
flip side, Power Ranger Samurai is very much Shinkenger,
Ooh, yeah, no,
and I don't think
we don't talk
I
about
think
that.
only the children who were growing up with Samurai have affection for that.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of things about that. I didn't watch a lot of Samurai personally,
No,
but
God
I've heard
no.
about a lot of the episodes being like one to one translations and not being done well. So bad
Mm.
example.
Here's my
But
experience with Power Rangers Samurai. In high school, one of my the people who sat at my table during ceramics, his friend's older sister was the Pink Ranger. So shout out.
no
Yeah, I don't know.
shot. Small
He could have been
world.
lying to
I
me.
had no idea.
He could have been lying to me, but shout
He
outs.
could have been lying to you.
Maybe
That's
I
insane.
know we're always 3 degrees away from Power Rangers, no matter where you go. Just bring it back to Gav a little bit. You were talking about his family, and I think for me that's one part where I'm really starting to get annoyed. Not maybe not annoyed, but I'm kind of done with them. Like they either need to start
Okay.
doing something with his family, because here's the pattern with his family. They send out a new part timer. The part timer gets beat by the Gavs. We get a scene next episode of them sitting at the table saying, "We gotta get better part timers." Then they send out a new part timer. He gets beaten by the Gavs. Then they're like, "Oh,
Okay.
okay." Then one of them goes out and they fight, and maybe they own one of them, but then they leave. And then the next
Yep.
episode is them back at that fucking table. I am so sick of
Yeah.
Stomach Inc.'s fucking table. They need to either do something with them to show me that they are scary, or they need to just get beaten and then we upgrade to like the mid-season to finale big boss.
Yeah, no, that checks out. I agree with that 100%, because the last interesting thing they did with the family was the death of the twins.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten that paid
And
off.
yeah, we still haven't gotten that paid off. So, what, that was like 5, 6 episodes
It's a
ago? It's been
decent
a
show. It was
while.
the premiere of Caking, and we're about to get the premiere of a new
Yeah.
form. So I was, yeah, somewhere between 5 and 10 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, so I agree. They are
Mm-hmm.
definitely dropping the ball. Their pacing for the family storyline is definitely not well done.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably attribute that to the fact that we likely still have what 40 no 25 more episodes of this.
Yeah,
So maybe they can wrap it all up in a neat little bow, but that's me giving them the benefit of the
I
doubt.
mean, I hope that they can. I mean, just the thing about Tokusatsu is that I never want to feel like they're stalling. Like I know that it's a weekly production. I know that they have like a year to make a TV show, but you don't want to really pass that effect. You don't want to pass the effects of the production on to the viewer, which is what I'm
Right.
kind of feeling. I'm kind of feeling the wheels spinning on the bad guys, and they're just kind of sitting around. Except for Nielf, the scientist, he's making moves.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, but the older
Um,
brother and the sister, and I'm just go away, just go away.
I think we've been a little spoiled because we had Geats before this, and the format for that was very conducive to every episode being like having
It's
stakes
true.
and being interesting. That's just the power of the tournament format
Mm.
in
Or
writing.
even just the
Um,
writer v writer conflict is
right.
easier to keep people invested in than writer versus shadow organization.
And now that I think about it, in Gav,
Mm.
Lucky had pointed this out a couple of episodes ago, where all of the work that Shoma and Hanto have been doing have been them basically getting tweets and finding and stumbling upon the monsters. It's not very conducive to them like actively doing things,
No,
right?
it's true. It's very much like death by a thousand cuts. Like they're not really taking down stomach. They're just kind of annoying them.
Exactly. So I think that might play a part into why they can't actively just get to the good stuff. They're lagging behind because they don't have the
It's
resources.
true. And I mean, they still don't really know how to get to Granute World, right? Or am I wrong?
Right, they got lucky
Yeah,
that one time.
that's true. Okay. Well, I mean, that's where we're at with Gav. So let's go ahead and jump into our thoughts on the latest episode being 23. Hanto's mom got
Man.
melted.
Yeah, no, the very first 5 minutes of this episode are
Oh
brutal.
my god. So I guess at some point in the past, Stomach didn't know how to turn people into acrylic stands. So we see that they're all just kind of laid out on tables, getting the happiness drained from them, I would assume.
That's what I'm assuming. Seems pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Very inefficient way to
You
gather
know,
your
we
ingredients.
saw an acrylic stand person get thrown into a wood chipper, and that still looks more preferable than being drained on a table.
Man, they really did put that person through the wood chipper.
Yeah, that's good. That's Shoma's
I
mom.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's
His
exactly what
mom got
happened.
grounded up. So we see Hanto's mom actually got free. She mistook a child, Shoma, as a child that was kidnapped. She's trying to get him out of there. They get caught, and their solution is to throw the mom in a big green tank filled with goo.
Yeah, I mean, apparently that's the goo that they used to make their dark
Yeah,
treats. So
that's the human juice. The human gusher, if you will.
oh no,
Um,
they're used to make delicious fruit gummies.
oh, fruit gushers, dark treats. When? Um,
Ooh, that's the collab of the century. I'm waiting.
so I mean, we see another good scene with Hanto, surprising nobody.
Oh God, it hit me so hard. Like, it's such a human reaction to hearing. Like, just imagine being someone in his position.
Hmm.
Like, you're looking for your mom. Like, she's been gone for years,
Hmm.
and now you're listening to about how she's been brutally murdered.
It felt very real because he was saying like, I know she got kidnapped, like I know she was a dark treat, but like just hearing that confirmation that like there's no loopholes, there's no exits, that happened, obviously it hit me too. I was getting a little choked up.
Yeah,
um
no, it's definitely a amazingly written scene, and I think that the actor actually did very
he's
well
he's
with.
impressing me like constantly.
Yeah, no, Hanto's
Mm.
definitely a highlight of Gav, bar none.
Bar none. And also this kind of disproves one of the biggest Gav theories, at least we think so. If you're not familiar, there was a theory going around where Shoma might have been the wolf-like Gav that ate Hanto's mom. People have pointed out that like Popping Gummy apparently looks sort of wolfish, and he does have claws on his toes for no reason. I think
Yeah,
that was the extent of the the background for the theory.
that's why it's a theory.
It is. That's why it is a game theory, Matt Pat. But we do see Shoma as a little boy, and he has this memory. So I feel like if it was he had gone berserk and turned into a wolf and kidnapped her or something, I feel like these two scenes couldn't coexist, at least in my
Right.
mind.
No.
Um,
Like, that absolutely makes sense to me. I hadn't heard about the theory until you mentioned
mm,
it, but I guess off the offshoot, I didn't believe it in the first place. Just the way the wolf design of the Granute that kidnapped her looked in the flashback
mm.
gave me more like, and I was talking
Yeah, you told
with
me
Scott
this.
about this
I was
before,
very impressed.
where I believe that Lakia's brother was the one that kidnapped her. Because, he has more distinctive features that matched
He had
what the kidnapper looked
he
like.
was like feline or canine or something like that. And you mentioned that
Right.
he had done. He said that he had done something that he couldn't take back, which I
Right.
didn't. I
So
didn't put any of this together. Your theory, in my opinion, is much better than the pervasive internet theory already.
I think people just wanted to give Gav a bit more
Oh,
dimension, but in the wrong way.
I mean, everyone wants drama, right?
Yeah, that's
Having
fair.
it be like, by the way, it's not enough drama that he's secretly the alien race that kidnapped his mom. If he was the one that literally kidnapped his mom, it's very dramatic. But I don't think they could. I
They,
don't think they could walk back from that one.
yeah, no, they wouldn't be able to. So yeah, good job,
Mm.
internet sleuths. You guys did
You
great.
got and you're potentially debunked.
Potentially,
Potentially,
we have yet to have the
yeah.
actual answer, but I'm sure we'll
And
get it.
before Gab episode 40, where we sound really stupid and everyone's right.
Oh
Um,
man, I can't wait to be proven wrong.
I mean, not much else happened. We got another bitter Gav confirming that they're mass produced. This one has no memory of that the other one shared or anything like that.
Yeah, and actually, he has a different personality too.
Hmm.
I didn't really think about it while watching the episode, but the initial Bitter Gav introduction was very like, oh, he's like a relentless, one, like single minded goal kind of dude. But this guy just wants to chill and have
Yeah.
fun at the expense of literally everybody else.
Also, I mean, I know it's a kid show, time constraints, all that, but the first one had to search pretty far for those soda gummies that worked, and this one just kind of has them. So I don't know how to make of that. It sounds like
I
he's
think
cheating.
that's just the sign. Yeah, he's cheating, but at the same time, I think it's just kind of like, oh, the scientist dude just learned his lesson from the last guy. It's like, all right, I'm just going to give him this upgrade,
Oh, maybe,
like
yeah.
moving forward.
Maybe he just knew or he learned what he needed. Oh, sorry, we did skip over. They go to visit Shoma's grandpa uncle. I call him like Grandpa Banana because he's kind of banana shaped.
Dente, I believe is
Dante,
his name.
Dante.
Yes.
We learned a little bit about
Dante.
Stomach Inc. How they used to just make nice sweets until his brother or Shoma's grandpa, who was the leader of Stomach, gave him the human juice to put in the
Yeah,
gummies.
it's like, oh, where'd put this in the gummies? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like,
No
no
questions
questions
asked.
asked. Comes back to every board meeting. You need to make them more addictive. Okay, sure thing, boss.
Sure thing, boss.
Not the
This is some drug lord vibes immediately, huh?
not the brightest tool in the shed is our boy Dente.
Okay, so he's
Yeah,
capable because he's like a scientist. He made the
he's
Gavv
technically
on
brilliant.
Shoma. Technically brilliant, but not the brightest bulb in the set. Huh?
No, he's very much like your uncle who can't do long division but knows how to rebuild the car engine.
Oh man, honestly, that's exactly it.
It was funny seeing Lakia almost fucking kill him immediately though. As soon as he
He's
revealed,
like, oh yeah, I invented
yeah, I
those.
invented the dark treats, boy. So we got
He's
some.
about to catch those fucking things.
So we get some bitter Gavv stuff. He runs off. Shoma is protecting like this woman whose leg somehow got broken or twisted or something. Lakia is really fucking pissed. He wants to get the master's identity out of the bitter Gavv versus protecting the two humans. Gavv, obviously. Also, sorry, I keep saying Gavv. I know it's technically Gavu, but I just can't. It's just Gavv. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. We're not Japanese.
We're not Japanese, and we're not bowing down to the internet's opinions.
Never have, never will.
Have, never will. Independent thought, baby. Never mind. So Gavv splits off to go find them. They're obviously hyping up like who the master is when I think it's really obvious that it's the scientist who made Hanto.
Yeah.
It's easily that guy. Like that guy has been evil since day one. We knew he was working with Nyelv to make the Ram driver. We even saw him take Shoma's hair, didn't we?
Yeah. He took a sample took a strand of his hair and made 1,000,000 babies with it.
Oh, and so that I don't know his name, but that evil scientist also gives Hanto a new. Oh my God, what are they called?
Ooh, yeah, the dark chocolates, the
Gochizo. He gives Hanto a new set of Gochizo that are obviously not evil and that Hanto can use freely.
They're also not sentient. They weren't active when he gave them to
These
him,
are
now that I think about it.
What do you call it? These are uninseminated Gochizos. like buying eggs at the store. He even calls them bitter. He says that these ones are a little bitter than what you're used to. And I would think that as someone who just fought a man named Bitter Gavv, that I would be suspicious of the word bitter. But I'm sure next episode Hanto will jam those in and we'll have some fun.
I mean, I guess in his brain's like, oh, dark chocolate.
Yeah, it's fine. This guy's never led me astray. He's just done weird surgery on me.
Yeah, no, he carved something into my stomach, I guess, and we're just gonna like live with that.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He made me a Kamen Rider. He can't be a bad guy. So we see
No.
Gavv chasing bitter Gavv, and then the episode ends with really, this kind of a little filler episode. Not filler, but
Yeah.
We get a tease in the preview for Gavv's next form. I think you and I are in agreement on this that we are not fans.
It doesn't look great.
It does not look
But,
great.
ice powers, that'll be cool.
It might be cool. It might look better in motion. I think it's called Blizzard Sorbet. If I'm not, we'll find out for sure. We also get a peek at Valen using the bitter chocolates. Kind of just looks like he's got some gunk on his eyes. And that's really where we're at with Gavv. I realized we didn't talk about it when we were talking about our Gavv opinions. What are your suit opinions for Kamen Rider Gavv, Dominic?
Oh God, there are much better Kamen Rider designs. Gavv is absolutely like on the bottom side of my opinion. Yeah, no, not a fan.
I just meant like the suits on a whole, not just Gavv himself.
Oh, the suits on a whole.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you like any of them?
uh, I think Valen looks all right.
I
I thought Vram was okay when he was introduced, and the more I look at it, the less I like it.
mm, I think I'm in the same page with you. I think Gavv popping gummy Gavv has kind of grown on me, but I still think it's just kind of plain. And I don't
Right.
really get gummy vibes from it. Like I know he has like the kind of translucent armor, but it's just not it doesn't evoke gummy to me.
Right.
I hate most of his other forms. I hate the chip form. I don't mind the marshmallow form actually. And his chocolate form's fine. I like cowboys. Um,
I think caking is mid.
I also agree with you. I don't. A lot of people really love caking. I think it's by default his best form, but I still it's not one of my favorite suits. And I'm a white tokusatsu suit like supremacist.
Ooh.
Give me a good white tokusatsu suit, and like I will show you the money. Like Abare Killer, Kamen Rider Zangetsu,
Ooh,
um,
Die
Die Ranger,
Ranger? Fucking.
Geets. Uh,
You know what? I didn't think a lot about that, but
mhm.
you're right.
I feel like tokusatsu white suits have aura, as the children say. We are both old. Sorry, we didn't introduce that.
Maybe, okay, those are Sentai examples. I think a lot of the white Kamen Rider suits are less.
Oh my,
Er. Um,
Geets.
okay, Geets is good, but I'm going to give you a good example of a bad
Uh huh.
one. Look up Build
I
Genius.
know Build Genius. I like Build Genius. You don't like Build Genius?
I think it's too much.
Maybe when I finally watch Build, like maybe it won't be as cool in the show, but I like it.
I think the other build suits look better.
Mm.
I don't think Build Genius is the peak of build.
I for a
Um,
rainbow suit, I think I like Build Genius more than Rainbow Gotchard. I don't know if that's a hot take.
Rainbow Gotchard. I like base Gotchard better than I like Rainbow Gotchard.
Mm-mm.
But that's
I thought for
as someone who hasn't seen Gotchard.
yeah, it's two people who have refused to watch Gotchard. These are our Kamen Rider Gotchard suit opinions. But I think Majade suit is white, and I like that. Although it's got the orange and blue. I know what you mean. Like, obviously, not all white suits are great, including caking. Uh,
Yeah, including cake.
I agree with you though. What you said before, Valen. I don't know why the Valen suit does work for me, even though it's got the obvious like chocolate bar eyes. Something about it
Right.
still is like, yeah, it's like this works for me. It's not my favorite suit. I really hate the donut form.
Oh yeah, donut suit is
I really did
awful.
not enjoy that. But Valen
But just
works.
like the way he henshins, the way
The
like
Valen Buster itself
he
is
moves in
cool.
it, the Valen Buster is sick. Oh,
I mean,
God.
I
I think most gun related changers and drivers are pretty disgusting.
yeah, you know, it's very interesting because with Sentai, I'm kind of down on gun changers just because I think there's been so many of
What?
them. Like I love Dawn Brothers, which makes me kind of want a Dawn Blaster, but then I look at the Dawn Blaster, I'm like, this is kind of like whatever. It's just a yellow gun. Uh, so I'm kind of down on gun changers in Sentai, but in Kamen Rider, I think it's more unique still. So I
Yeah,
am kind
no,
of
that's
like, oh, this
true.
is kind of neat. Um,
I mean, when most drivers are just
belt.
buckles
And,
or
yeah, it's not even a
belts, I
belt, really.
mean,
It's just the
yeah,
buckle. You're right.
the change of pace is
Mm.
nice.
For Ram, I think I like Ram. I don't like his the jelly form where he's pink. I don't think that one works.
Yeah, the jelly
Um,
form is not great.
the
And yeah, the more I look at Vram, the less I like
I
it.
do kind of agree with that. The only thing that I really don't like about Vram is that he just has brown shoes for no reason. When like his whole color palette, like obviously they change colors with which form they're in, so he's mostly silver and
Right.
black. Um, but he's always gonna have the little brown shoes, and they just look like little clogs. And I don't know if that's a design
Yeah.
intention or why. Like I wish they would have just been orange like the rest of his like flan color.
I mean, it gives me more candy corn vibes than
It
flan.
does look like candy corn. You're right. It kind of. Oh my god. You're right. The more I look at From, the less I like him.
Yeah, but surely they'll give him a new form later down the line that'll
uh,
add some shine to
I
that.
don't know. Every new form I haven't really liked for Gavv, so I don't know if I don't know if I have the
Okay,
faith to put in
like
that.
I guess alongside like all of these different forms, Bitter Gov is just like it's the best look that Gov has had so far to me.
It's not for me. I think I like popping gummy more than I like bitter Gav. I don't really. I don't
Interesting.
know what it is. It doesn't really give me soda either when I look at bitter Gavu.
It does look more spicy.
It does.
It's the
It looks like
flames.
chili. Like if it was like Taki form or like chili pepper form, maybe I'd believe more of it. I'm not
Or
sure.
if it was like, red hots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if it was like a cinnamon kind of candy, maybe. I don't know. He's fine as like our mass-produced rider, but
Well, when you put it like
well, I
that.
mean that's what he is, right? He's like our
Yeah, that's
Kurokage.
exactly what
Yeah,
it is.
he's fine as our mass-produced rider for them to beat up. He looks evil. It's fine. He did something new this episode with he was feeding the Gochizo to the sword, which is something that
Yeah, and then
regular
he
Gav doesn't do. And then there was like an arm beam tentacle coming out of his head that was holding the sword.
Yeah, I didn't notice which Gochizos he ate either, so I don't know if those powers would have added up to
Yeah,
that.
I don't know either because when we first saw Bitter Gavu, the only one that triggered him birthing the Gochizo was the soda gummy, right? Like he was eating all this other stuff, but nothing came out.
Right.
So I don't know if they were all just soda gummies. Um,
Also, he had a Vrokan.
he
Like he has the
he
bite, but
did.
he's never shown
That's
eating
true. He's never shown eating the
that
hard candy or
snack.
whatever. Yeah, but he has his own little motorcycle. Um, I don't. Anything else you need to say about Kamen Rider Gavu?
Um, just looking forward to what the mystery reveals are, seeing where they take it. I think it's still got that potential for me
Mm-hmm.
personally. So yeah, looking forward to what the next 25 episodes will provide.
Surprising everyone, maybe. I am also looking forward to it. I think, I came off a bit negative, but I'm really not. Like, I think Gavu is just settling into like maybe the middle of the pack of writers tokusatsu that I've seen, which is still like a comfortable place to be. I'm still invested. Obviously, now that it's on the show, I can't just drop it. Not that I would have, since I'm already 23 episodes in. Um, but yeah, I think it could definitely pick it up. There's plenty of tokusatsu where they have like a mid-season slump, if you will, and then
Right.
they're able to pick it up for like the final arc. And I don't see any reason why Gavu can't. I can even be proven wrong. It could start to pick up from here. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it, and I'm looking forward to
Oh
hearing
yeah.
people listen to us talk about it
On this fine
on this
podcast,
fine podcast that I realized
Tokusatsu.
Taco Satsu. I realized we didn't even do an introduction at the beginning.
You know what? That's
So maybe
fine.
we'll do it now and I'll cut it and put it at the beginning, or I'll leave it at the end. And
10 out of
only
10.
real ones will know. If you
Only real
if you
ones
made it to
will
the end and know
know.
what the fuck you're listening to, shout out. Uh, welcome to Tago Satsu. My name is Scott. This is my friend Dominic. He's watched more. Well, let me get to what the podcast is about. This is going to be our bi weekly Tokusatsu podcast, where we're going to be discussing the two airing shows during the popular block Superhero Time, which is for right now number one Sentai Gozyuger and Kamen Rider Gavv. We're starting with the premiere of Gozyuger. We're unfortunately not starting with the premiere of Gavv. Uh, if you're unfamiliar, these two long running series are, what's the word? Is it annually? Yeah, they're
Yes.
annually refreshed. So once a year, a completely new season starts with a new cast, new team, new director, writer, everything. But they start at opposite ends of the year. Sentai usually refreshes around February, and then Kamen Rider usually doesn't do its refresh until September.
Right. So honestly, we wouldn't have been able to sync up the introductions of these series anyways.
Exactly. Either you were gonna get episode 1 of Gavv and like 25 of Boon Boonjer, or Gozyuger, and then the half of Gavv that we're gonna get. And there's a lot of hype around Gozyuger. It is the 50th anniversary. It's not the 50th season, Toei, but it's the 50th anniversary of the franchise. And so we really wanted to dive in. I'm a little bit of a noob. I mean, I'm a noob. I've seen a lot of Tokusatsu. I've finished some of them. My friend Dominic is a Tokusatsu eating machine. I'll
He says that. I've seen a lot of Heisei, not Heisei writers.
You have seen Heisei Riders, haven't you?
Yeah, Heisei writers. I'm thinking. Sorry, sometimes I get Showa and Heisei mixed up.
Oh.
I've seen a lot of Heisei writers. Haven't seen a lot of Showa.
Yeah,
I've
I don't think
seen
anyone on this
most of
podcast
Reiwa.
has seen any Showa. I'll shout that out right now. Neither of us have seen anything from before 2000.
Yeah. And then for Sentai, mostly Heisei for that as well. Though I think the earliest thing I've seen on the timeline is Geki Ranger.
Geki
Have I seen
Ranger?
anything before Geki Ranger?
What's before Geki Ranger? Bokenger.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything before Geki.
As I said, I'm a bit more newbie. I've seen the starts of a lot of Heisei writers, but I've only finished Kuga, Ryuki, and Gaim. Gaim,
Yeah.
the G,
Was
the
Gaim,
heavy G.
Was Gaim your introduction?
Gaim was
to
my
Kamen
first
Rider?
Kamen Rider show. You started me at
Ooh.
peak, and it's been disappointing ever since. That's not true. That's
crazy.
not. Well, it's kind of true, but I'm here for it. Hasn't been that disappointing. I like Kuga a lot, and I like Ryuki a lot, except for like the last 90 seconds of the final episode. But maybe we can. Maybe we'll get into that some other time. And for Sentai, I've seen a lot of the beginnings, but I've only ever finished Gokaiger and Dawn Brothers.
Really?
Oh,
I thought you finished more.
No, I've seen a lot of like 3 episodes here, 5 episodes of that, and like sometimes I've looked up the end, like the final 2 episodes. Because back on, I don't know if people know this, but Tokusatsu is not the fucking easiest thing to watch.
It isn't.
It's not legally subtitled except for a few series, and that's now. Back when I was trying to get into this kind of stuff, like in high school, I watched a lot of it on Facebook.
Oh God, I remember those
Yeah.
days. We're kind of dating ourselves.
Oh yeah,
aren't
we're
we?
boomers. I'm sorry, guys. Skibbity Toilet, Bogo's Minted. Please stay.
Bogo's Binted
Is it not?
Gen
Is it not
Alpha.
Gen Alpha?
No,
Sorry.
Bogo's Binted is definitely millennial.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Parkour Civilization. Okay.
Ooh, there we
Yeah.
go.
So I watched a lot of like here and there stuff, but the only 2 that I've ever like watched all the way through has been Gokaiger and then Dawn Brothers, which was earlier. No, well, that's last year now. Dawn Brothers, probably my favorite Tokusatsu I've ever seen. I just,
It is very good.
it's technically not the best written, but I don't care. I just love them so much.
It's just fun.
It's
a
so much fun.
series.
It's so weird. It like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like the main villain, there is no main villain for Dawn Brothers, and the final fight just starts that episode.
The main villain is literally just society.
Yeah, there's a society that we never really get to see somewhere in a different dimension that's kind of pissing me off. But whatever. Who cares? The conflict is always, can the Dawn Brothers be happy? And I want the answer to be yes.
Honestly, yeah, it's in that sense, it's kind of slice of lifey. It's like they're just trying to live life.
It's true.
And be happy, and they're struggling.
And God, I want them to be happy. And also, Zenkaiger versus Dawn Brothers is not canon. I'm sorry. Sorry you had to learn this on like the world's least popular Tokusatsu podcast. But
Oh God, I'm looking.
that movie is not fucking canon, bro.
Yeah, no, we forget that it exists. I'm looking at the list of Sentai, and I lied. The earliest Sentai that I've finished is Deca Ranger.
Oh my God.
That That was 3 years before Gekiri.
I can't believe you lied on the podcast. Guys, please tune
Yeah,
in for
no.
episode 2 where I begin auditioning new co-hosts for my Tokusatsu podcast.
Yeah, send your applications to I can't believe my friend is replacing me at gmail.com.
um, but yeah, all right. I think that's about it. Hopefully you feel like you know us a little better. Hopefully you feel like we make your time enjoying Tokusatsu feel a little less lonely. I know it's a pretty small niche community. So hopefully you tune in with us. Like I said, we're going to try and do this bi-weekly. I'm looking at the timeline right now. We're about an hour, 20 minutes for 2 episodes. I mean, that's 2 episodes and some backlog. So I really don't know if like one episode of each show will be enough for us to make a podcast that matters. If that makes
I
sense.
mean, we're likely going to be able to weave in our tokusatsu experiences and opinions with every episode as well. So I'm sure it's
It's
fine.
very true. You know, this is episode 1. We've never, I guess we should mention, we've never done a podcast before. I'm literally going to have to learn how to audio edit from this episode. Um, so we're just we're winging it. We'll see. I think for the next one, we will try bi-weekly. And then if that one turns out a little too long or we have too much to say, we might jump back to weekly. Um, join us as we figure out what the fuck a podcast is.
And as we explore number one Sentai Gozyuger
And
and Kamen Rider Gavv.
how should we sign off? How did the episodes just end with music now in Tokusatsu, huh?
Yeah,
Um,
typically.
oh, well, you know, I did segment change, so you can do the ending jingle.
Taco Satsu. Two guys talking tokusatsu.
Ooh, I like it. One day, maybe, you know, if we keep going long enough, I'll pay someone to make music for us. We'll see. All right, we'll
Hey,
catch
that'd
you
be sick.
later. Do the sign off again.
Taco-satsu. Two guys talking
It
tokusatsu.
sounds sultry. I like it. All right, I'm stopping.
Mm.